Hello, Realm of Empires fans. Welcome back to Developer Log. I'm Greg Bala, and I'm here to talk to you about probably the most exciting gameplay mechanic that we're bringing to some of the new realms. That is the morale system. And we'll have a little demo today for you. If you haven't seen the video just before this one that goes through the survey that we've done recently and some of the results, I would highly recommend you do so. But I'll give you a very quick recap of the results of that survey because they're important. As I mentioned in the previous video, we definitely have two groups of players playing Realm of Empires, and basically they're distinguished by the amount of time they have to play. Everybody has a different amount of time that they're willing to dedicate to the game. So what we found is that the group that has more time to play typically doesn't want us to make any changes to the game, who they are happy with the way it is. They like the fact that they have an advantage because of the time they have. And there's another group that basically wants everybody else to be limited to the time that they have to play in the game. This is obviously very hard to deal with in one realm. This is why we've always had two different realm types, a veteran realm and a veteran insane realm. And basically that meant different parameters. So the veteran realm was slower, had a more aggressive handicap and troop desertion. So when you attack longer distances, you would have to send more troops, therefore limiting the amount of fakes that you can send over longer distances. The handicap protected smaller players who couldn't keep up with people who had more time. And of course, the realm was a little bit slower, so that if you didn't have as much time, you wouldn't fall back as much as you would in insane realm, in comparison to a person with more time to play. So we had that for a while. It was better than nothing, but it never worked very well. And the reason why is because while yes, things were a little bit slower in veteran realm, you could still be attacked with a large number of attacks by a player or a group of players. You still, by not playing, you were falling back behind. If you only had 1 hour to play, you were falling behind the person who had 10 hours of play simply because of, say, farming of rebels for silver. So we're bringing a brand new gameplay mechanic. We're very excited about that, and that is something called a morale system. And it is basically designed to limit the advantages a player gets by playing longer than what the realm is designed for, if I can say that. So basically, it allows us to remove the limitations from the veteran realm. It allows us to make the realm faster. It allows us to have less aggressive handicap desertion, and yet allow you to play within the amount of time that you have in the game. So let's just say you have only 1 hour to spend in the game. A person who may have 10 hours won't get ahead from you by far, maybe just a little bit, but you can feel competitive enough if you play just the hour a day. So let's dive right into the demo and show you the morale system. But for that, I got to put on my demo making shirt. So let's dive right into the morale system, the demo. Rather than showing you whiteboards and spreadsheets and formulas, we figured we'll show you the prototype, we'll show you how it currently works, where we're going, and hopefully that will give you a much better understanding of what's the point, how it's going to affect your gameplay. So let's start by attacking our little rebel here. We're going to attack, and first thing you notice is that you have this colorful little bar here. Please ignore the colors and the icons. These are temporary sort of developer art. Hopefully we'll get those better. So what that bar is something we call the morale bar. It basically tells you how much morale you have. And that little indicator tells you where you are. When you move your mouse over it, it tells you that your current morale is 100. So let's begin by attacking the village. So let's just say I want to send 22 knights. And as you notice, the morale bar basically decreased. And as I send more, you see that the bar decreases slowly as you send troops. Morale decreases as you send more and more attacks. And basically what morale is the morale with which your troops are attacking. So the more you get them working, the less happy they are about attacking, and basically their morale goes down. And all is fine until really morale goes down to 0. And you can see the morale with which your troops are traveling. You can take a look at here, and you can actually see that they're traveling with 101 morale, here with 98 morale. And if you click on it, you get the outgoing, and those numbers are again available here for you to see. So let's close that. So let's now see what this morale is really about. So Let's go back to attack. Let's go back to the bar. When you click on it, you get a little pop-up telling you everything there's to know really about the morale. And we'll just skip a couple of things. We'll get right into what we just did. So as you can see here, you can tell that attacking rebels and abandons takes 3 morale for every single attack. These are basically development numbers. Don't look at those numbers as being what we're going to launch with. This is just for our testing in a testing environment. So anyway, 3 morale for each attack. There's a minimum and maximum morale, and morale regenerates over time. So 4 per hour, so it's about 100 morale. If you go down to 0 morale, you can get about to 100 in about 23, 24 hours or so. And it tells you that what morale affects, attack strength. It actually doesn't affect the certain factor. There's a bug still in our version here. It affects carry capacity and move speed against rebels. So we're at 95 morale, and the attack multiplier is 1, which means you multiply your attack strength by 1. So if you're sending 100 knights, it's times 1. It's like 100 knights. Speed also is 1, so there's no effect on speed. Also carry capacity. So basically, with the morale between 100 and 1, the multipliers are basically nothing, no bonus, no penalty, and your troops basically behave and act the way they act right now. However, it gets interesting once you get into the bonus area of morale. So let's take a look at that. Let's scroll to 101 morale. The moment you get to 101 morale, you start getting some bonuses. So for example, here the attack multiplier is 1.01, which is basically 1% bonus. You're sending 100 knights, it's as if you sent 101. You get 10% speed increase when attacking rebels and abandoned, and your troops can carry more. Twice the silver that they could normally. This is obviously a very small boost, hardly worth talking about. However, when you go to higher numbers, things do matter. Let's set. I'm going to artificially set my morale here. I have access to the database, so it makes it really easy. I'm going to set it to 150. As you can see, the UI should update in a moment as soon as it picks up the change that I made to a database. Anytime, there you go. So morale is now 150. Again, I click on that, I get a pop-up, and it highlights 150, and I can see what the bonuses are. So here the attack multiplier is 1.2, which means a 20% bonus. Basically, if you're sending 100 knights, it's as if you sent 120. Your speed multiplier is 5, which means your troops traveling towards rebels on abandons do so 5 times as fast, and they can carry 15 times the silver they could normally. Don't ask me how. I guess if they're really happy, they can find spots to carry the silver somehow in. So you can kind of see how that could be useful when raiding rebels. Imagine you've just spied on a rebel village and you found that it's full of silver. And I know that doesn't happen currently very often, but we think that in these realms, this is going to be much more of an occurrence where you're going to find a rebel with quite a lot of silver. So let's just say you find a rebel with a lot of silver, and then you can launch an attack with a smaller force that will arrive there very quickly and able to carry a heck of a lot more loot, so you can basically get everything that's there. And maybe we should do an example. So let's attack a rebel here, which due to my wonderful access to the database, will be full of silver. So we're going to spy on that, and I have spies here. And one thing to notice, the first thing when we're attacking is, as you notice, the morale stayed at 150. And the reason that is because spies do not participate in the morale system at all. They don't get any benefits or penalties, and they don't take any morale. So you can spy at your heart's content, and it doesn't really have anything to do with it. Why? Because, well, spies are recruited in basically tavern. They basically run on beer, and as long as you have plenty of that and plenty of company for them, I'm sure they're very motivated to go on, and spy. So they don't have anything to do with morale. So here we are. Our spies are traveling. It says here 100 morale. That's a bit of a bug, but it basically means that there are no penalties, no benefits. But our spies are traveling. Here we are going to open our report, and here's our report, and the spies basically tell us the million silver in the treasury. So let's get at that silver. So let's just say I want to do that. I have 119 knights. Now, how much is 119 knights? Let's see. Let's go to stables. Let's look at troop details. How much one knight can carry? 400, right? So let's me bring my calculator here, my trusty little calculator. So my 119 knights could carry a maximum of something like 47,000 silver. Well, that's definitely not enough. I have a million there. I want to get all of it. So I have to send, normally I would have to send quite a bit of troops. However, I'm at 150 morale, which gives me 15 times the carry capacity. So I multiply that by 15, which gives me 714,000. So that's almost the entire treasury. So that's where the morale comes in handy. So let's do that. I send those troops, and as you notice, it will only take 18 seconds to get there. And this is 3 squares away. And the reason why is because they also get the 5% or 5 times speed bonus. So let's do that. Let's see that go. And it's going. It's one of the fastest. Look at that guy go. And it surprisingly takes a long time to see 8 seconds pass. But as you can see, it tells me the speed and also that the troops are traveling at 150 morale. And boom, done. Let's take a look at the report. Oops. Okay, here we go. And voila, we have the huge plunder. And we also can tell in the report that the troops have landed with that morale. Okay, so that's bonus. What about penalties? My morale right now is -1. So let's click on that and see what it means. So -1, it's where we go into morale penalty. So that means attack multiplier is 0.9, which means that your troops attack with at 90% efficiency. So if you send, say, 1,000 knights, it's as if you sent only 900. Your speed move at half the your troops move at half the speed at rebels, and the amount of silver they can carry is cut by half. Let us attack the rebel with this morale. So here we are, we're attacking, and let's just say we attack with 22 knights here. Let's launch a bunch of other attacks and get that morale to say -11 or 12, in which case the penalties get worse. What are we at? -12. Okay, so let's launch another one. -12. Whoops, don't have enough of that. So we're gonna go here. And there we go. Oh, firing from this village right there. So as you can see, the troops that you've sent, they're traveling with 0 morale, -3 morale. This is their speed, etc. And if you look at the one that we just sent, it's going at a speed of 36 squares per hour, which is slower than 60. And the actual morale is -12. So I'm sure you can see how quickly that has an effect. But let's look at what happens if you're at the maximum or the minimum morale of -50, the maximum penalty. Let me again step here into the database, run that. Here we go. So morale -50. If you click on the little details pop-up, shows up, and we can tell that our troops are fighting with a significant penalty. We're at 40% efficiency. So again, you send 1,000 knights. It's as if you sent 400. They're traveling much slower, and they can carry hardly anything at all. So let's just see. So let's just say you send 22 knights, and they can carry 400 silver. So normally you could carry 8,000, but with the multiplier, we times it by 0.003, and you get 26. So your raiding party can carry back at most 26 silver, even if there's a million in treasury. So you can still keep attacking on -50, and if you wish to go for 25, 26 silver, you can, but you can definitely see how that's not the most efficient use of your time. If you look at the numbers, actually, you at least with this test realm that we have, you have 100 points of normal morale. The attacking on rebels takes 3, so that's basically 100 divided by 3. That's not really rocket science. You can send about 33 raiding parties within a 24-hour period and be as competitive as a guy who can send 100. And the reason why 24-hour period is because you get about 100 morale in 24 hours. So if you get down to 0 morale and you have to wait 24 hours before you get to 100 again, and another 12 or 13 hours or so before you get to the 150 bonus. So I'm hoping that's pretty clear what that means. If you only have an hour to spend on a game in this kind of a realm, you are just as competitive as a guy who has 10 hours. Now, of course, if you are the kind of person who has 10 hours, you probably, if you haven't stopped the video, you're probably sharpening your knives. Please don't worry, the Veteran Insane realm will not have that feature on, which means you can play the way you want it to play. And we have plenty of people who enjoy it, so there's absolutely no problem there. But we also have people who want that kind of a limit, so they can play efficiently within the amount of time they have. Okay, so that's the recap of effect on raiding rebels. What about real gameplay? What about attacking players? Well, that is also basically within the morale system. So if you're attacking a person with minus 15 morale or attacking another player, you are doing so at 40% efficiency. So let's give ourselves, say, 100 morale here. There we go. We have 100 morale. So let's attack a real player here somewhere. Who do we have here? This is a copy of a realm. Let's attack this poor guy here, and let's attack him here. There we go. One more attack here, and the morale obviously gets affected. And as you can tell from this, it's five morale per attack of a real player. The thing about calculator here is if within 24 hours you can get 100 morale, divide that by 5, you're looking at about 20 attacks that you can send at a player with full efficiency without getting any penalties. Which also means that if you get attacked at a time where it's not the most convenient for you, you can expect at most 20 attacks from that player. While before the veteran realms were slower, nothing there prevented a enemy to launch 100, 3, 4, 500 attacks at you if they wanted to on a Sunday or inconvenient time for you. In this realm, that won't be the case. Every player is limited by the number of attacks they can send with full efficiency. It will significantly benefit people who are limited with the time they can spend on the game. Now, of course, if you're willing to wait another 12 hours or so if you're willing to forgo 36 hours or so between attacks, you get into the bonus area. Now, what does that mean? Well, between 100 and 150, you got 50 more points, but the early bonuses are very, very small. Really, the top 20 points between 50 and 30 is where you have significant bonuses, which basically means, let me bring my calculator, not that I don't know this math, but let's just do it anyway. So you're looking at 20 morale points divided by 5 attacks. So you have about 4 attacks that you can do with a significant bonus. So it's an interesting strategy or tactical option that you haven't had before. Now again, if you are the term that I've used, a full-time player, and you enjoy the benefit you get from the fact that you do have more time, then the Insane Realm is going to be for you. If, on the other hand, you are like many players who will say, I can only do an hour, 2 or 3, you'll be able to choose a realm like that. And in fact, this system allows us to have many different realm types that cater to people with different amount of time. So let's just say you have an hour to play. We can have a realm that just catered to the players that have an hour. Let's just say you want to play 3 hours. So we can have a realm that allows so many points morale, so much cost per attack that will allow you a 3-hour gameplay. But you always know that if you spend that time that you allotted, a person with more time can get just slightly ahead, but not that far away. So you know that you're always competitive within the amount that you have. So I hope you found the video interesting and informative. I very much look forward to your comments. Please do comment either on a Facebook post or in a video, and we will answer them. And if another video is warranted to answer those questions, we will do so. And we're very excited about this. This is a very significant gameplay change that we're bringing to Realm of Empires, and which will allow us to basically have 2 different gameplays. So again, if you don't like it, don't worry. If you do, we look forward to seeing you in a test realm, which we are basically scheduled for, I think, end of November or mid-November or something like that. So see you then.